Joining me on the line from Geelong is Jono. Jono, the Ashes is over and the Australians victorious 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1 Cam. It is one and done, which is a little bit of sadness involved. The Ashes are now over because there was so much build up leading into the series. And I suppose all in all, it's been a cracking test series.
And it has been a huge build up. Two of those test matches only went for 2 days. There's a sense of, I don't know, disappointment that we didn't quite get what we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, too right, Cam. The first test over in Perth only went for 2 days, and which everyone was shocked about. And then I suppose more so the Melbourne test, where historically you get 4 or 5 days at the MCG with a slower wicket, only lasted the 2 days. And for myself personally, it was terrible because I was meant to go day four, so I missed out.
Um, Drop in wickets, that's what's been used around the country. Should this really be happening with drop in wickets? Surely we can control the conditions a little bit better than what we've delivered.
I think the fear with the ground staff now is the amount of AFL particularly played on these venues that by the time the tests roll around, they just haven't got enough time to prepare the wickets. They were even talking this year at Sydney how it was much better wicket as opposed to previous years because the Swans weren't in the finals and weren't playing late into September with the footy. So I don't know. There's maybe an argument to suggest that the drop-ins are a good thing, but I think the fact that Australia didn't take a spinner into a Sydney test for the first time in since 1870 something or other is, it's a bit mind-boggling, particularly for those spin advocates out there.
Well, that's a great point that you make there. So, flashback 20 years ago, if a test has been played at the Wacker, we expect a hard pitch, plenty of bounce. If a test has been played at the SCG, we expect plenty of turn. We don't see those sort of variances in the pitches like we used to back in the day.
No, we don't. And there was I heard one commentator speaking in relation to the spinners. If you're a 12-year-old spinner now, well, they're looking at the Australian team and they're not taking spinners in the last couple of Test matches. And imagine when I was a kid and Shane Warne was playing, everybody was bowling leg spin because they wanted to be like Shane Warne. So yeah, it's an interesting concept now. They're producing wickets in Australia that seem, we haven't seen a wicket in the world seam before like we did in Melbourne. With the 10 mil of grass that was left on that pitch. So, yeah, it's an interesting concept, but I suppose we just got to keep adapting to the game.
Look, one of the great things about the drop in wickets, and we saw it up here at TIO Stadium last year, is that the territory can have Test match cricket. Territory can have one day and T20 cricket. We can prepare the wickets off site, drop them in, and have the field converted in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, most definitely. And it also brings back the argument, Cam, for the new stadium in Darwin. And it also allows Test cricket in particular, to be played all over Australia all year round.
I
So,
love the way I love you turn a phrase there. You almost spoke about the new stadium like a fait accompli. Let's hope it is.
yeah, I had to throw it in there, Cam. I know we're both age with that one.
We are big fans. Mitchell Stark, player of the series. Travis said he must have been very close.
Yeah, too right. Like there's arguments for and against, but Mitch Stark, he what a series he had. Man of the match in the first two tests. He finished with 31 wickets for the series and 156 runs, so you can't begrudge him with that. But at the same time, Travis Head's made 629 runs, 3 centuries. 11th man of the match test match for his career, only behind Steve Waugh, Steve Smith, and Shane Warne in Australian Test history. So he's very much climbing the ladder to be one of the greats of Australian cricket, that's for sure.
He certainly is. And speaking of greats, Usman Khawaja, his last knock in the baggy green, a great way for him to end his Test match career.
Yeah, he's been a fantastic warrior, Usman, and he's been one of my favourites, that's for sure. I've seen him make a couple of centuries live, one in Adelaide, another one in Sydney a few years ago, and yeah, he's been a fantastic servant for Australian cricket. Just a shame he couldn't hang around today for the end and hit the winning runs, but yeah, you can't say a bad word about what Usman's done for Australian cricket.
So where to now for the Aussie Test team? Are we relatively settled? We replace Khawaja and that's it, or do you see more changes on the horizon as we go into the next 12, 18 months of Test match cricket?
Yeah, good question. There's obviously there's an opening spot available there. Whether all's the answer, time will tell. It looks like Travis Head has clearly cemented his spot as the opener, depending on whether or not he chooses to do so going down the track or the side does. But there's a couple of young kids getting around Australia, particularly one from Geelong, Ollie Peake, who the other night hit a 6 off the final ball in one of the big bash games for the Renegades to beat the Scorchers. So there's some young kids coming through, whether they blood the young kids, our fast bowling attack, they're all ageing as well. So it'll be interesting. There's a transition period, most certainly, for the Australian cricket team over the next 18 months. And you would think in 18 months' time over in the Ashes in England that it'll be a totally different looking side.
Yeah, it will be. Jono, enjoyed the Big Bash cricket, and thanks for joining us once again on WCBH.
Pre-season is over, and Saturday mornings in Darwin mean one thing. Game time with WCBH on Darwin's 97.7. From 9 a.m, Cam and the WCBH squad bring you 2 hours of sports talk and positive music. It's a sporting extravaganza. Rugby league, union, Australian rules, hockey, football, baseball, cricket and motorsport. We've got the territory sporting action covered. Don't drop the ball. Get on side and score a try with WCBH, your weekly Darwin sports report, only on Darwin's 97.7.